Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're unlocking a superpower that can fundamentally change your life, your career, and, well, your bank account.
A superpower, huh? What are we talking about?
It's understanding the fundamental building blocks of any business. From the tiniest startup to the biggest corporation out there.
Okay, the core stuff.
Exactly. Every single business, doesn't matter the size or what they do, boils down to 5 fundamental parts. And getting these, it's like having the cheat codes.
Cheat codes for business. I like that.
Yep.
Helpful for pretty much anyone, right? Entrepreneurs, people looking to climb the ladder.
Totally. Even just if you want to figure out how the world of commerce actually ticks.
Right. And our guide for this, you mentioned Josh Kaufman.
None other than Josh Kaufman.
Yeah.
Yeah, the expert known for his really practical takes on business, productivity, how to learn stuff fast.
The personal MBA guy.
That's him. And these ideas we're diving into, they are literally the bedrock of every business plan ever. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Let's really get these 5 parts.
Okay. And it's interesting where these ideas even came from. Kaufman's own story. He wasn't like a business school grad initially.
Right. He kind of backed into it.
Yeah. His book, The Personal MBA, it's huge now. But it started from his own, curiosity and a problem he had.
What was the problem?
So he finished university, got a job at a big company, worked alongside all these people with MBAs, and he realized he didn't actually get the fundamentals of business, what it even was.
Okay, so he's feeling a bit lost, surrounded by folks with the fancy degrees. What did he do?
Well, his first thought was, there must be a book, right? Some classic text laying out the basics.
Yeah, the one definitive guide.
Exactly. So he started looking, reading tons of stuff, business books, articles, trying to piece it together. But he just couldn't find that single clear source he was imagining.
And here's where it gets interesting, because he didn't just throw his hands up.
No way. After months digging through all this stuff, he kind of realized, okay, this thing I'm looking for, it doesn't actually exist. Not like this.
Oh.
And that's when his whole personal MBA idea shifted. It went from just his quest to something bigger. Like, okay, I need to define these critical parts myself, figure out how they work, how they connect.
Wow, so it turned into this massive side project.
Basically a second full-time job, yeah. Just reading and researching like crazy.
So the personal MBA wasn't some academic exercise. It came from a real personal need to understand business from square one, for someone who knew nothing.
Exactly that. His goal was to break down all the pieces, what they do, how they fit together so anyone could get it. And he really believes you can learn a ton of valuable business stuff without the formal degree just by grasping these core ideas.
Okay, so for someone listening now, maybe thinking about their career, maybe starting something, what's the immediate payoff here? Why learn this stuff?
Oh, there are loads of benefits. If you're early in your career or, you want that promotion, understanding this gives you such a solid base.
Like knowing the rules of the game.
Yeah. He talks about a friend, an engineer, prepping for a management interview. She had the tech chops, right? But lacked the business language to talk about improving the company.
Ah, okay. So this framework helps bridge that gap.
Totally. It gives you this simple but really powerful way to look at any business and break it down.
Like a universal X-ray vision for companies.
That's a great way to put it. And it cuts through a lot of the jargon and complexity people pile on. It lets you ask the really crucial questions.
Which are?
Well, first, how does this business actually create value? What problem does it solve? Second, how does it get attention? The marketing side.
Okay, value, then attention.
Third, how does it convince people to actually pay? That's sales. Then fourth, how does it deliver on its promise? The value delivery part.
Got it. Create, attract, sell, deliver.
And finally, the fifth piece, the finances. Is it bringing in more money than it's spending? And is it enough to make the whole thing worthwhile?
Wow. Okay, those 5 questions.
Yeah.
They seem incredibly fundamental. Like you can apply that to anything.
They are. That's the foundation of literally every business plan. You have to answer those, whether you're selling candles from your kitchen or running Apple.
Right. So let's dig into number 1, value creation. What's the core idea?
It really boils down to finding important unmet needs out there and then figuring out how to meet them well.
Unmet needs, things people actually struggle with.
Exactly. And the critical question is always, is this problem big enough, painful enough that someone will pull out their wallet to make it go away?
That's the acid test, isn't it? Not just a cool idea, but a paid-for solution.
Precisely. And even simple things, like he uses the candle example. Why do people buy candles?
Good question. Smell, looks, price, how long it lasts.
All of the above, probably. They want it to smell nice, look good, not feel like a ripoff, maybe last a decent time.
So value creation involves juggling those things.
Often, yeah. There are trade-offs. You probably can't make the absolute cheapest candle that also has the fanciest, longest-lasting scent with premium wax. So early on, you need to really understand what your specific customers prioritize.
And how do you figure that out? What they really want?
Well, Kaufman stresses observation, like being an anthropologist. Watch what people do. Don't just rely on what they say.
Okay, watch their actions.
And ask questions too, obviously. Try to uncover needs they might not even consciously realize they have. He mentions his time at Procter & Gamble.
Oh, yeah.
They do things like, watch people use paper towels in their homes. Just observe intensely.
Wow, that level of detail. But people don't always know what they want, or they say one thing and do another.
And absolutely, that's a huge point. He brings up examples from shows like Dragon's Den.
Like Shark Tank in the U.S.
Exactly. Entrepreneurs come in all excited because their friends and family love the idea, but that feedback often means very little in the real world. Friends are nice. The market isn't necessarily nice.
Huh. True. So how do you get a real signal? Cut through the politeness.
Ask for the money early. Pre-orders. That's the whole idea behind Kickstarter, right?
Right, putting your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. If people are willing to pay you before the thing even exists, that's a strong, strong signal. Like Kaufman says, focus on what wallets do, not what mouths say.
Makes total sense. Show me the credit card swipe.
Yeah.
He also had that interesting story about laundry detergent, right? Powder versus liquid.
Yeah, that's a fantastic example of an unmet psychological need. P&G researchers saw this woman waiting for the washer tub to fill a bit, then adding the powder, then swirling it with her hand.
Even though she didn't need to.
Chemically, no, the powder dissolved fine, but that little ritual, it gave her a feeling of control, reassurance that it was working.
Okay, so it wasn't about the cleaning power itself.
It was about the feeling.
Yeah.
And that insight led to liquid detergent, which poured easily, mixed instantly, visually confirmed it was working. Boom. Huge category.
Wow, so it's about those subtle things, the unspoken needs. He mentioned cold throw for candles, too.
Yeah, some people really care how a candle smells just sitting there, unlit. Paying attention to those little preferences, those annoyances, that's where innovation can come from.
Like finding the little frictions in life.
Exactly. Amazon Prime is a classic example. Solved the friction of waiting for online orders, the cost of shipping, made it seamless.
Ooh, it's funny. We were just talking about the table banging ruining our microphone audio. That's a friction we just kind of live with.
Perfect example. We know it's annoying, we've tried stuff, but mostly we just accept it. The entrepreneur, Kaufman suggests, is the one who says, you know what, I'm going to fix that.
So early days. It's about building a quick version, a prototype, getting it out there, and seeing if the core idea works.
Precisely. Identify your biggest assumptions, like people will pay $6 for this, or this technical solution will work, and then test them fast.
Like our assumption that rubber bands would stop the mic vibrations,
Yeah.
which was wrong.
Right. You test, you learn. Is this need real? Is it widespread? Is it painful enough? And again, the best test. Pre-orders. Real commitment.
So start small, prove demand with actual sales, then grow. Seems like the mantra.
Absolutely. Avoid spending years and tons of money building something nobody wants. That's playing business, not doing business.
Good distinction.
And fundamentally, a business has to provide value. Otherwise, it's just a scam, right? He sees business as generative. Find a problem, create a solution, make things a bit better, get rewarded.
Okay, so value creation is step one. Master that. Then what? If you have something valuable.
Then comes step 2, marketing. Because if nobody knows you exist, nobody can buy your valuable thing. It's that simple.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind, out of business.
Pretty much. Marketing is the whole process of grabbing the attention of people who might be interested and making them curious enough to want to know more.
And that's different from sales.
Yeah, there's a distinction. Marketing is about attracting interest. Sales is about closing the deal, convincing them to actually buy. We'll get to that. But for marketing, the key is tapping into fundamental human drives.
Okay, getting on the radar. How do you do that well?
Well, part of it is practical. Where do your potential customers hang out? Online, offline. What captures their attention already?
Find your audience.
Exactly. But the deeper level, Kaufman argues, is understanding basic human psychology, what really motivates people.
He mentioned 5 core drives.
Yeah, these are powerful motivators behind, well, almost everything we do, including buying stuff. There's the drive to acquire, get stuff, status.
Acquire.
The drive to bond, connect with others, belong. The drive to learn, Figure things out, satisfy curiosity.
Acquire, bond, learn.
The drive to feel, experience emotions, sensations, and the drive to defend, protect ourselves, our loved ones, our stuff.
Acquire, bond, learn, feel, defend. And good marketing hits one or more of those.
Almost always, yes. Think about Nike. Definitely acquire the status, the gear, bond, being part of the Just Do It tribe.
Right.
Feel the sense of achievement, pushing limits.
Makes sense. Apple.
Oh, Apple hits loads. Acquire status symbol, definitely. Bond the Apple ecosystem, feeling connected, learn the functionality, what you can do, defend privacy, security features, feel their whole storytelling, the unboxing experience.
I still remember those first iPod ads. The silhouettes dancing. It wasn't about megabucks.
Exactly. It was pure feel. 1,000 songs in your pocket. That feeling, that experience, that's often way more powerful than just listing features.
Like selling candles based on ambiance, not just wax type.
Precisely. It's the emotion. Or look at Liquid Death. It's water, a total commodity.
Right, canned water.
But the branding, the marketing, it creates this feeling, this affiliation. I'm the kind of person who drinks this. It taps into bond, maybe even a little defend against mainstream stuff.
That idea of being the opposite of the mainstream is interesting. Like Perfect Ted or Brewdog. Takes guts, he said.
It really does. Brewdog literally blew up pallets of mainstream beer. Talk about a statement. It creates this us versus them energy that really connects with certain people.
So controversy can work, used carefully.
Yeah. Jane Warwan from Dermalogica said something like, piss off 80% to connect with the 20%. Brands create feelings. They don't need universal love.
Better to be loved by some than ignored by all. Avoid being vanilla wallpaper.
Exactly. Find your hyper responders, the people who really care.
So becoming a great marketer means understanding psychology, understanding attention.
Fundamentally, yes. We're drowning in information, right? Kaufman's Jenny on the side of the road analogy, everyone's shouting for attention.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
So the marketer's job is to cut through that noise, highlight what's important, interesting, valuable, right up front, make it easy for the right people to notice.
Okay, so value creation first, then marketing to get attention. Step 3 must be
Step 3, sales. This is where the transaction happens, where the money flows in.
the moment of truth.
Pretty much. For a candle maker, maybe it's directly on their website. Or maybe they sell through little shops, distributors. That's a sales decision.
So you have to figure out how you'll ask for the money, what that process looks like.
Exactly. And it connects right back to marketing, making the offer seem great and forward to value delivery. Because the goal isn't just one sale.
Right, you want happy customers who come back.
Yes. Getting that first customer is usually expensive. Advertising, time, effort, repeat customers, that's where the real profit often lies. Which brings up lifetime value.
Lifetime value, or LTV. Explain that.
It's basically the total amount of money a single customer is likely to spend with your business over their entire relationship with you.
Okay.
Kaufman uses a simple example. Jack buys maybe 2 candles a year. His LTV is okay. But Jill, she buys a candle every week for years. Her LTV is massive.
So you really want to keep Jill happy.
You absolutely do. That's why customer service is so vital. It's not just fixing problems. It's about retention, building loyalty, getting that positive word of mouth.
And you can even try to bring back old customers.
Definitely. Reactivation, reaching out to people who bought before but haven't recently, often way cheaper than finding brand new customers.
He also brings up features versus benefits again. For sales.
Yeah, it's crucial here too. Don't just sell the soy wax feature. Sell the relaxing evening, the cozy ambiance, the perfect gift benefits. Connect it back to those core drives. Feel, bond, maybe even acquire status with a fancy candle.
The features are just the proof you can deliver the benefit.
Exactly. Reasons to believe. People are imagining their life with the product. Sales and marketing need to help them picture that. Like a test drive for a car, let them feel it. Storytelling helps immensely.
Moving beyond those first 3, he talks about what makes a successful company overall. People seem key.
Hugely important. He stresses hiring people who are curious, engaged, good communicators, and really buy into what the company is trying to do, the mission, the vision.
And everyone should kind of get those 5 parts of the business.
Ideally, yeah. Understand how their job fits into creating value, marketing, sales, delivery, or finance. And keeping things lean, less bureaucracy, less management overhead, lets people focus on the actual work that matters.
Like that Southwest Airlines idea. Hire for attitude, train for skill.
That's a classic example. Get the right kind of person, the right mindset first. You can often teach the specific skills. Building that team, well, it depends on the business, but Getting the right people aligned on creating value, marketing effectively, delivering consistently, that's huge. Maybe even setting clear goals tied to those 5 areas helps.
So hiring's vital, but how vital depends on the game you're playing.
Exactly. A solo candle maker versus a software company have different needs.
Okay, what about competition? That scares people.
Yeah, but Kaufman has an interesting take. He mentions the iron law of the market, quoting Mark Andreessen. Markets that don't exist don't care how smart you are.
Meaning?
Meaning, if nobody else is doing something similar, maybe it's because nobody actually wants it. Competition is often a good sign. It proves there's a demand.
Flips it around. Be wary if you're the only one, like the Segway.
Exactly. Cool tech, but where was the market need? So don't fear competitors.
Oh, should you do?
Learn from them. Buy their stuff. See what they do well, what they don't. Check their pricing, their ads, their packaging. It's free market research. See how they differentiate. Maybe they target a niche you missed or their branding hits differently. You can learn a ton.
Okay, so we've got value creation, marketing, sales. Then implied is value delivery, and the fifth is finance, which also scares people.
Totally does. But again, he tries to demystify it. Everything costs money, right? Making candles, running ads, shipping boxes. Finance is just the system for tracking that money and making smart decisions about it.
Like managing your cash, knowing how long you can survive if you've raised money your runway.
Exactly. Even with just, say, $2,000 saved up for your candle business, finance is deciding how much for wax and jars, how much for online ads, how much set aside for shipping.
It's basically, are we making more than we're spending?
This is the core of it.
Yeah.
A simple income statement. Money in from sales minus all the costs. What's left is profit. Is it enough profit to keep going, to pay yourself, to make it worth the effort?
But all the jargon, accounting.
He argues it's mostly common sense, basic arithmetic. He tells that story about Richard Branson not really understanding net profit initially.
Really?
Yeah. The point is, you don't need to be a CPA. The personal MBA breaks down the essential financial concepts simply. For the candle maker, know your monthly fixed costs, your average sales, your cost per candle shipped, and your net profit. That's a great start. Is that profit sustainable?
Okay, less intimidating when you put it that way. Another big principle he pushes is experimentation.
Yes. Love this part. The faster you experiment, the faster you learn, the faster you succeed. It takes the pressure off having to be perfect right away.
It's like that explore versus exploit idea.
Exactly. From computer science. Early on, you're mostly exploring, trying things out, testing sense, testing ad copy, testing prices.
But the key is learning from the tests, right? Failure's fine if you learn something.
Absolutely critical. If an experiment fails and you don't know why, you've learned nothing. So test small batches of sense. Get feedback, not just sales numbers, but ask people what they liked or didn't like. Maybe even blind testing to reduce bias.
He also mentioned Gould's law. Start simple.
Yeah. Complex systems that work evolved from simple systems that worked. Don't overcomplicate things early on. Avoid feature creep.
Like adding a phone charger to your candle just because you can.
Right. Is that really creating value? Or look at the Whoop band. Its value is partly in what it doesn't do. No screen, no notifications, focus. Simplicity.
Okay, this connects nicely to his other big thing, learning fast. The first 20 hours.
Yeah, that TED Talk went massive, didn't it? Because everyone wants to learn faster and more efficiently.
So what's the gist?
The first chunk of time you spend learning something new gives you the biggest bang for your buck. You can get surprisingly good at many things with about 20 hours of focused, deliberate practice.
Not world-class mastery, like the 10,000-hour rule.
No, that's for elite performance in competitive fields. This is about going from I know nothing to I'm actually pretty decent at this. Think 40 minutes a day for a month.
And he has steps for that, too.
5 main ones. 1, decide exactly what you want to be able to do. Be specific.
Okay, concrete goal.
2, break the skill down into smaller pieces, the sub-skills. 3, do a bit of research. Find the best ways to practice those pieces, just enough to get started.
Deconstruct.
Research. 4, remove barriers to practice. Make it easy to start. Get the tools you need. 5, commit to practicing deliberately for at least 20 hours. Push through the initial frustration.
Use DJing as an example, right? Goal, mix 2 songs. Sub-skills, beat matching, using the hardware, research basics, get controller, practice.
Exactly. And that initial phase, maybe the first 5-10 hours, that's often the hardest, the frustration barrier. You feel clumsy, you make mistakes.
Got to push through.
Yeah. Pre-committing to the 20 hours helps overcome that urge to quit. And picking something you actually want to learn helps too. A lovable project.
Makes sense. He also mentioned things like focusing on one skill, getting tools, speed over perfection early on. And that's Steve Jobs' calligraphy story.
Right, the idea that learning seemingly random things can connect in unexpected ways later. It's rarely a waste of time to learn something new. You never know where it might lead.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, bringing it back. Our previous guest left a question for Josh. Looking back, do you regret more things you did or things you didn't do?
Ooh, good one. He actually said he tends to have more regrets of commission things he did that didn't pan out than omission, but he tries to avoid future regrets by thinking things through beforehand.
Scenario planning.
Yeah, mapping out options, potential outcomes, what the trade-offs are, trying to anticipate consequences before making a big decision.
So, wrapping this up, understanding these five fundamentals, value creation, marketing, sales, value delivery, finance, it really does feel like a superpower.
Gives you options, right? A way to understand how businesses work, maybe start your own, be more effective in your job.
Definitely empowering. And the personal MBA sounds like a great starting point for anyone wanting that accessible business education. Huge thanks to Josh Kaufman for these insights.
Absolutely.
Foundational stuff.
And Josh has left a question for our next guest, which we'll reveal next time. But here's one for you listening. If understanding these 5 parts is a superpower, what's one small way you could start applying this lens, this way of thinking, in your own life or career? Maybe even just this week. Something to chew on.